Hello, and I would like to tell you a story that happened about 4 years ago. It will be one of those stories about the suffer of homeless animals that one can see on the streets. Back then I lived in Israel with my family, and it was on the evening of an abstinence day when no cars were allowed on the streets, no food, no drink. And I was sitting with my mom in the living room when I suddenly heard whining from the streets. And when I looked down from the balcony, I saw a little kitten trying to crawl on the road. And so I rushed down and I found this kitten, and when I picked him up, I saw a lot of blood on my hands. So I realized that something terrible had happened to this little one. I also noticed a lot of children of different ages that were riding bikes just nearby, and I was sure that those children were responsible for the condition in which the kitten was. And I took the kitten to my home, and when I uncovered him, I saw that I was terrified to realize that two of his legs were just completely torn from his body. They were just hanging there on what used to be skin. So I looked at his sufferings, and I didn't know how could I help him, because I couldn't ride him to the hospital because no cars were allowed on roads, and I also didn't have any professional experience to take care of this kind of wounds. So I just thought that my obligation before this little creature is to try to smooth somehow his miseries and give him some of human warmth as much as I could. I could say that this night was the longest ones and the most difficult ones that I have ever spent. The kitten just never stopped whining, and I gave him food and milk and wrapped him in a blanket, and he fell asleep. And I just was sitting there and thinking that maybe this food was the only food he got for many days, because he was so skinny. But I also was glad that I could provide him some of good moments in his short life, that he felt full and he could sleep in calm and in warmth and without pain. The next evening, my boyfriend and I took him to the nearest vet hospital, and when the vet checked him, he said that his legs were in too bad condition, that they needed to be amputated. He also told me that this kitten will need a home, and I just couldn't keep him in my home because I already have dog and kitten. I just couldn't keep him. I also didn't know about any person that I trust that can keep him. And that said that in those circumstances, the best thing for this kitten will be to euthanize him. He said that it is painless and quick death, and he also said that even the healthy animals have little chances to survive on the streets. So I'm not speaking about the mutilated ones. So I listened to his advice, and I took the kitten to the room, and he gave him a shot. And I put my arms on him, and just for him to know that I was with him and he wasn't alone. And gradually his breath began to be slower and slower, when suddenly he just stopped breathing. It was like he fell asleep. And when I left, I was crying, and the next couple of days I was crying because I felt guilty that I don't think I had the right to decide if somebody have right to live or die. But that was a choice I did. And till today I don't know what would I do if I will be, someday I will be in the same circumstances. I don't know what would I decide. I don't know how can I help those animals that suffer from maltreatment on a daily basis. But the only thing I know I'm able to do is to raise my little son to be a good person, to be kind to animals, to value their lives, and to be responsible for their lives. And I also think that if everybody will teach their children the same morals, those kind of stories will not repeat on themselves. And not only in Israel, but in any other place. And this is my sad story, but I felt an urge to tell about it. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.